She claimed the house was safe, until we found a ladder leading into the attic from outside. Olena pours tea into cups that don't match and says the line like she's used it on 100 nervous faces. The house is safe, darling. Safer than an ice cube in a freezer. Her earrings clink against the mug when she laughs. She pushes the lease across the small kitchen table and taps where we should sign. No administrative fee. No pet fee. We don't have a pet. And as she puts it, no fine print because I trust people who trust me. The kitchen smells like lemon cleaner over something powdery, like mothballs. Mira squeezes my knee under the table. It's cheap. It's close to her new job and my night classes. If the walls are scuffed and the linoleum curls at the seams, who cares? We sign. Olena hands me a ring with 2 keys, then pauses and adds a third from her pocket. Front, back, and this one is a spare for the closet in the hall. I like you to have a backup. Tenants are like family to me. She watches our faces when she says family, like she's calibrating. Mira thanks her and tucks the keys into her tote. I ask about the little window up under the peak of the roof, visible from the street. Gable window, Olena chirps. Sealed. I had the glass replaced after a storm years ago. Purely decorative. People love the way it looks from outside. She says decorative the way some people say dessert. We move in on a Sunday with friends in a borrowed pickup. The mattress squeals turning the corner. The couch loses a button. The box labeled books shreds itself on the porch step, and my paperbacks fan into the rain. Mira laughs, out of breath. The house takes our weight and our noise like a body exhaling. In the late afternoon, the friends leave with promises to come back when we've found where our forks went. Mira and I unpack in a daze. Sheets, towels, the mug she won in a staff Secret Santa that says, "This is fine." A plant that refuses to die. In the living room, the tick of the old electric meter through the wall is steady and a little too loud, like a calm heartbeat or a metronome set just off a song you can't place. By dark, the wind comes up from the water and turns the street into a soft pipe organ. Mira stands near the hallway, studying the attic hatch as if a recipe is written there, and she's translating it. "Tell me this doesn't look freshly painted," she says. "It's probably just, Olena said she replaced detectors. Maybe she did touch-ups." I stand beside her and run a knuckle lightly over the edge. The paint gives off a faint sweetness, the kind you notice only when your face is close. I want to show I'm not dismissing her, so I say, "We'll check it tomorrow in daylight." She nods without moving her eyes. That first night is a museum of small noises. Houses have to settle. Beams have to speak to one another. Wind has to try every angle on a window latch. The heater rumbles like an old bus starting up. The neighbor's dog makes exactly one throaty warning sound and then goes quiet as if shushed. Mira lies on her side facing the wall. I can tell by the way her shoulder tightens that she's counting the seconds between the ticks of the meter we can hear from the bedroom if we don't turn the fan on. I do, and the noise whirls us into sleep. Sometime after, I surface to a sound I can't name. It isn't a footstep. It isn't wood complaining. It is the softest brush or sift. Above us, and a little to the right, my mind, obedient, opens a drawer labeled mice, squirrels, birds, even though there's no flutter, no chatter. Mira is awake too. I can tell by the way her breath holds and then goes shallow. Neither of us says anything. We have no language yet for what the new house sounds like in the dark. The fan keeps turning. When sleep comes back, it is reluctant, as if convinced it will be needed again soon. Morning rinses everything out. The house looks like a place with stories we'll add to. Coffee steam makes a halo in the kitchen. I sit at the little table and examine our lease like a trophy, as if reading it again will make me feel financially competent. Olena's handwriting in the margins, tiny hearts over her E's, amuses me. Mira hums as she puts bowls into a cabinet, then stops humming to frown at the back door. "Did you lock this?" she asks. I did. The deadbolt is set. The knob lock turns and catches as it should. The bottom of the door has a streak of grayish dust along the inside edge like a thumb dragged along a windowsill. When I rub it between fingers, it has a softness, a scent without a name, an indoor attic dry that makes me think of old coats. We decide to run errands. We need batteries, drawer liners, those felt pads you put under chairs so the neighbors don't hate you. On the way back, we meet the woman in the red cardigan, who lives across the street and collects the mail of half the block. She introduces herself as Tamara, and asks if we're the students. Mira says sort of. Tamara lowers her voice like she's about to share gossip neither of us asked for. "Keep an eye on that roofline," she says, pointing with her chin, subtle. "Wind plays tricks here." Then she smiles too brightly and mentions her grandson and how she bakes on Wednesdays. When she goes in, Mira gives me a look with 6 thoughts in it. I pull out my phone and start a notes file titled House Stuff because lists calm me. Olena stops by unannounced in the late morning with a paper bag of screws and a smaller smoke detector, as if the ones she installed yesterday might have shrunk. I'm obsessive, she jokes, waving a pale hand. If ever you need a handyman, I have someone. Anton. Wonderful. Discreet. The way she says discreet makes the word feel like a sample on a ribbon. She glides from room to room without asking if she can, complimenting our plant, our mugs, even the way we put the sponge in a little ceramic dish. In the hallway, she pauses beneath the hatch, as if she forgot what she came for. Paint came out nice, no? She says to the air, then to us. By the way, the neighbor's dog. Don't let it scare you. Barkers bark. Mira says nothing. Elena presses another key into my palm. A tiny nickel one with no label. For the hall closet, she says again, as if explaining it to a child. When she leaves, the kitchen retains the sweet, chalky smell, filming the back of my throat. We make a late lunch and eat on boxes. Mira teases me for using my phone flashlight to read the breaker labels even though the sun is still up. I tease her for wiping the baseboards like we're on a decorating show. The house is beginning to feel like ours in the prospector way. We've staked claims with our fingerprints. By late afternoon, the sky swathes itself in low cloud, and the street grows gray at the edges. We take out 2 bags of flattened packing paper and stand in the small patch of grass out back, where the ground dips a little before the fence. Mira points to the corner where a clump of weeds droops around a metal pipe that used to be something. We should get gloves, she says. I'm about to answer when her voice changes. What is that? She's not pointing now. She's looking down, a couple of feet from the back step, where the grass is pressed in a neat double line. 2 parallel dents, each a few inches wide, as if something heavy with 2 feet. No, not feet, not round. Rested there overnight. The space between the dents could belong to a ladder, the kind your uncle would keep in a garage, the kind with rubber caps that leave exactly this kind of shallow story in damp ground. I kneel, place my hand over one impression, and the soil gives back a cool, faintly metallic smell. On the siding just above, a pale arc interrupts the dirt at shoulder height, a scuff the color of dull aluminum. The wind nudges the fence. The meter ticks. Mira doesn't say anything for a long time. Neither do I. The house is quiet the way a person is quiet when they're listening to decide whether to speak. The marks in the grass don't fade overnight. If anything, they look sharper in the morning light. The edges dried into the soil like punctuation. Mira doesn't want to step on them. I do, half to prove it's nothing, half because denial needs physical evidence. The dents hold the shape of rubber pads, angled slightly as though someone adjusted the ladder to rest against the siding. The faint gray scrape above it hasn't washed off with the night rain. It's there. Undeniable. A scar. Mira makes coffee but doesn't drink it. She stands at the back window, arms crossed. Why would kids haul a ladder into our yard? She asks. Kids don't care about attics. I throw explanations at the air. Maybe someone tried to steal copper wire. Maybe a neighbor leaned it by mistake. Maybe. But the word maybe can only stretch so far before it snaps. We call Olena. She answers on the second ring, chipper. I describe the ladder. She chuckles, warm like it's an anecdote. Oh, we've had teenagers playing tricks before, leaning things against houses. Don't worry, Anton will come by and remove it. She makes it sound like the ladder is still standing there. When I say we didn't see anyone bring it, she sighs in a way that closes the subject. Within the hour, Anton shows up. He's tall, shoulders broad, coveralls stained with soot. He nods at us once, no smile, and carries the ladder away down the alley. After he's gone, I look at the siding where it rested. Fresh grooves mar the window frame of the gable window. The one Olena swore was sealed, decorative. Mira touches them with a fingertip, pulls back as though the wood bit her. Sealed, huh? She murmurs. That night, I decide to test it. Science comforts me. Evidence writes over superstition. I scatter a thin line of chalk dust along the inner edge of the attic hatch. A primitive tripwire, easy to notice if disturbed. Mira watches, amused, but uneasy. And if it moves, she asks, then we'll know. I say it too confidently. We sleep badly. Wind scrapes the gutter. The fan hums. At some dim hour, a sound wakes me. A soft sprinkle, like sand sliding across cardboard. Mira is awake too. Her hand tightens around mine. In the morning, the chalk line is smeared. Not completely gone, but shifted in a curve like something pushed past. My rational brain assembles excuses. Draft, vibration, gravity, but they feel like lies spoken too late. We look closer at the walls. Above the hallway vent, hidden behind the slats, Mira sees something glint. We pry gently with a butter knife. A fragment of glass, not part of the vent, jammed at an angle. From the other side, it could act like a peephole. My stomach clenches. Later, digging through the closet for an extension cord, I find a stack of papers shoved behind the shelf board. Old leases, different names, different dates, all with one clause circled in neat handwriting. House guaranteed safe. Some pages are torn halfway across, as though yanked from a folder. Mira reads them silently, her jaw tight. We sit on the floor in a heap of dust and yellowed paper. The house creaks overhead like someone pacing. Mira whispers, "What if she knows when we're here? What if she's always known?" That afternoon, Olena stops by again, smiling too brightly, carrying a jar of pickled vegetables like a peace offering. "I thought of you too. Settling in all right? Any noises?" Her eyes flick up deliberately toward the ceiling hatch. She doesn't linger on it, but the glance is surgical, quick and exact. She presses the jar into Mira's hands and adds, "Safe as can be. You're like family." When she leaves, Mira doesn't put the jar in the fridge. She sets it on the counter like a warning. That night, I wedge a thread across the attic hatch, tape one end to the frame. I spread flour in a light coat across the hall floorboards. I set my phone to record, screen dark. We crawl into bed, hearts beating too fast for sleep. In the morning, the thread is slack. The flour shows faint depressions. Too large for mice, too heavy for settling boards. On the phone's audio, buried in static and the hum of the fan, a sound emerges. A faint cough, human, followed by the unmistakable metallic clink of keys. And then, softer still, a woman's voice whispering, "Shh." Mira presses her hands to her mouth. My skin crawls. The attic doesn't just creak. It listens. It breathes. And last night, it answered. I play the recording 3 times before I let Mira hear it again. Each time I hope the whisper will transform into some harmless noise. A hinge, a sigh in the pipes. But it doesn't. It's a voice, low and feminine, the consonants clear enough to cut. Mira listens once, her face pale and set, and then she refuses to hear it again. "We need to leave," she says. "I want to argue, to protect our decision to move here, to insist we're not crazy. Instead, I promise we'll figure it out." I set another trap, a thin strand of black thread across the attic hatch, taped at both ends. A shallow pan of flour spread carefully on the boards beneath, and I wedge my old phone between 2 books on the shelf, camera aimed upward, recording in the dark. It's crude but effective. If someone is coming through, we'll have proof. That night, the house is too quiet. I don't hear wind, don't hear the tick of the meter, only the fans drone, and beneath it, anticipation. Hours pass. Mira squeezes my hand until it hurts. When sleep finally drags me under, it feels like surrender. In the morning, the thread is broken. The flour is scored with prints. Long, oval, heavy, not paws, not settling wood. Boot prints. I take photos, hands shaking, every angle I can. Mira stands with her back against the wall, whispering prayers she hasn't said in years. We don't mention it to Olena immediately. Instead, I walk across the street to Tamara's house, using the pretext of returning the plate she brought cookies on. She invites me in before I can refuse. Her house smells like boiled cabbage and something burnt. On her coffee table are stacked newspapers with yellowed edges. She talks without me prompting. That man of hers, Anton, he's out all hours. I see his van by the old chimney repair shop at 4 in the morning, and sometimes I see shadows across your roofline when no one should be there. She squints at me like she's testing if I'll dismiss her. I don't. That evening, Olena knocks on our door. She smiles as always, carrying a bundle of papers in one arm and a tape measure in the other. "Routine check," she says lightly. "Just making sure the utilities are in order. I worry about you two. You're so young." She wanders from room to room, measuring, peering, humming. In the hall, she pauses under the attic hatch. Her gaze lingers. She doesn't look at us when she says, "Paint came out well up there. Clean lines. A safe house is a happy house." Her words thud in the air like stones dropped into water. Mira grips my hand so tightly, it feels like she's trying to anchor herself. When Olena leaves, she reminds us to lock up. "Can't be too careful these days," she says, cheerful again, and closes the door with a soft click. That night, I review the phone video. The picture is grainy, black and white with occasional static. For hours, nothing. Then, a shape appears at the top of the frame. A hand, pale, sliding down the edge of the hatch. The hatch lowers soundlessly. Boots descend into view. The figure pauses, listening. Keys jingle. Then, most chilling of all, the camera captures the lower half of a face, lips moving. The whisper, "Shh." Mira won't watch it. She doesn't need to. I copy the file to a flash drive and hide it under the mattress. I don't know what I'm more afraid of, that someone is watching us, or that Olena has known all along. The next morning, I walk to the small precinct station 2 blocks away. Inspector Koval sits behind a desk stacked with paperwork. I explain the noises, the chalk, the thread, the prints, the video. She listens with professional patience, then folds her hands. "Old houses make strange sounds," she says. "Attics collect animals. If you catch someone in the act, call us immediately. Until then, keep doors locked." Her tone is gentle but dismissive. She doesn't take the flash drive. When I get back, Mira is waiting by the window. Her face is set, her eyes bright with anger and fear. She won't believe us, will she? She asks. I shake my head. She exhales sharply, almost a laugh. Then it's just us. That night, when the fan hums and the house settles, I don't fall asleep. I lie awake, staring at the ceiling, waiting for the whisper to come again. And when it does, when the faintest scrape drifts down from above, I'm ready, phone in hand, heart hammering. The attic doesn't just creak, it's alive. And whoever is up there knows we know. Mira insists we should leave, pack up tonight, crash at her coworker's place, call her parents if we have to. But I can't. Some stubborn part of me, the part that hates being gaslit, wants proof so solid that even Inspector Koval can't brush it off. I tell Mira we'll set one more trap that will bait whoever's climbing down from that hatch. She argues, tears brimming, but in the end she agrees, mostly because she doesn't want me here alone. We post on social media that we're heading out of town for the weekend. We leave the car parked a block away, lights off, curtains drawn. Inside, we wait in the dark with only a sliver of moonlight on the floor. My chest feels too tight, my pulse in my throat. Mira sits against the wall, clutching a kitchen knife she hates holding. I hold my phone camera steady on the hatch. Just past 2 in the morning, the hatch shifts. Quiet, slow. A shadow unfurls. Boots finding the hallway floor. A figure crouches. Listens. Not Anton. This shape is smaller, more delicate. The figure moves toward the living room, rifling through drawers with unnerving calm. Paper rustles. Keys jingle again. Then a whisper. Where did you put it? The voice is unmistakable. Olena. I dial 102 with shaking fingers. The operator asks questions I barely answer. By the time the cruiser rolls up, the hatch is hanging open and the house is empty except for us. No footprints in the flour this time. No figure caught on camera. Just the hatch swinging gently like a mouth half closed. The officers search, then shrug. No signs of forced entry, nothing stolen. Mira is livid, shouting at them that they didn't come fast enough. They write a report, promise to keep an eye out, then leave. The silence that follows is heavier than before. At dawn, Mira goes to make coffee and finds the kitchen drawer ajar. Our lease is gone. The copies of the old contracts we'd hidden in the closet are gone too. In their place, a neatly folded note. A safe house is a happy house. Follow the rules and you'll be fine. Mira's hands shake so badly she drops it. That afternoon, Olena arrives smiling as if nothing happened. She carries a brand new lock set in a little cardboard box. Thought you could use an upgrade, she chirps. She installs it herself while humming. Then runs her palm over the attic hatch as though smoothing a wrinkle in fabric. I told you, I take care of my tenants. Safety is everything. Mira glares but says nothing. When Olena leaves, I climb the hallway chair and push the hatch open with a broom handle. The attic yawns above, smelling of dust and mothballs. I haul myself up, coughing. The beam of my flashlight cuts through webs. In the far corner, hidden behind old insulation, is a doorless closet built into the eaves. Inside, shelves lined with cardboard boxes, some empty, some filled with electronics, wallets, jewelry. Each box has a strip of tape with a date scrawled on it. My stomach drops. I take photos until my battery warns red. Mira refuses to climb up but listens as I describe it. Her face drained. She's been storing people's things, she says. From tenants before us. She's watching, taking, piece by piece. That night, I can't sleep. Mira lies with her back to me, tense, breathing shallow. I scroll through the photos, each box a quiet accusation. One has a label from only 2 months ago, long before we moved in. Someone else's name on the taped edge. Someone else's life folded into cardboard. In the silence, I hear it again, a soft cough above us. Then, the whisper. Not shh this time, just one word, drifting through the boards like smoke. Quiet. Mira clutches my hand, and I know this isn't about noises or drafts. The house is a stage, and Olena is directing the play. We're already inside her script. I don't tell Mira I'm going back up there. She's already brittle, her nerves strung tight as wire, but I can't sit still. Not when the photos burn holes in my mind. Late the next afternoon, when she runs out to buy groceries, I drag the chair under the hatch and climb again. The attic swallows me in dust. I sweep my flashlight across beams, insulation, the boxes. This time I notice something else. The boards don't end at the far wall. A narrow gap gapes behind the insulation, wide enough for a body to crawl through. I pull it back and find a tunnel. Wooden braces holding up decades-old brick. It slopes gently into darkness. My chest tightens. I crawl 3 feet before fear drives me backward, gasping. But in those 3 feet, I see enough. Footprints in the dust, fresh, leading deeper toward the neighboring houses. When Mira returns, I tell her everything. She doesn't scream. She doesn't cry. She just sits down hard on the couch staring at nothing. So it's not just here, she whispers. She can get into all of them. We start piecing it together. Olena doesn't just rent one property. She manages at least 3 on this block. All old, all connected through these half-forgotten ventilation spaces. A perfect system. She promises safety, moves people in, and through Anton, or herself, she takes what she wants, when she wants. Nothing big enough to cause alarm at once. A missing ring, a wallet gone, a laptop cable instead of the laptop. Always enough to be blamed on the tenant's forgetfulness. Mira finds a receipt tucked into one of the boxes, a storage unit, under Olena's name. The date matches one of the labels on the shelves. It's a pattern. A business. We're not tenants. We're inventory. I email Inspector Koval again, attaching the photos, the audio, everything. I don't expect a reply. But the next morning, her number flashes on my phone. Her tone has changed. Curt, skeptical still, but tinged with interest. Don't do anything reckless. If you can gather more, do it carefully, and tell me if you spot her in the act. That night, Mira and I set our trap. We leave one of the attic boxes in plain sight on the hall floor. A box I emptied and fitted with a GPS tracker I bought secondhand. I hide a camera above the hatch, wedged in the molding, pointed down at the floor. Mira hates every second of it. But when she sees me press record, she grips my hand. If she comes, we end this. Hours crawl. The meter ticks. My eyelids ache with weight. Then, at 2:43 a.m., the camera light blinks. The hatch shifts. The ladder creaks softly and someone drops into frame. Boots. Coveralls. But when the figure steps fully into view, my stomach flips. Not Anton. Olena. She moves with deliberate grace, lifting the box, whispering to herself. Quiet, quiet, good. She carries it toward the door, pauses to glance around, then replaces the hatch with surprising strength. The camera captures her face full on for a second. Eyes bright, lips pressed in concentration. It's her. No doubt. I freeze the frame later, staring at it until my vision blurs. Mira doesn't need to see. She already knows. We send the footage and the GPS data to Koval. We wait, but Olena doesn't hide. The next morning, a letter slides under our door. You've violated the terms of your lease. Consider this notice. I expected better. Mira rips it in half, trembling. She's not just watching us, she says. She's daring us. The GPS pings that afternoon. The box is moving, carried to the edge of town to the storage unit listed on the receipt. Koval promises to check it, but warns us to stay out of it. That night, I hear footsteps above us again. 2 sets this time. Olena's soft ones, and Anton's heavier tread. They're not sneaking. They're working. The attic has become a corridor, and we're the last room on the line. I lie in the dark, Mira pressed against me, both of us holding our breath. The whisper comes again, drifting through the boards. Not shh. Not quiet. This time, almost finished. And I realize, with icy certainty, that if we don't act soon, the house won't just take our things. It'll take us. We don't sleep the next night. Sleep feels like surrender. And we've already surrendered too much. Instead, we sit on the couch with the lights low, listening to the house breathe. Mira keeps her phone ready with Koval's number queued. I keep the camera feed open on my laptop. Every creak from above feels like a countdown. At 1:30 a.m., it happens. The hatch moves. This time, there's no hesitation. 2 figures descend. Anton first, shoulders bulky, boots scraping flour into faint trails. Then Olena, smaller but sharper, her eyes darting, her mouth moving as though she's counting under her breath. They don't notice the new camera I'd taped into the molding by the hall mirror. They don't notice that we're awake. They carry tools, a crowbar and a canvas bag. Olena sets the bag down and whispers, "Check next door after this." Mira grips my arm so tightly my skin burns. I hit call. The phone rings once, twice, and then Koval answers. I don't say a word. I just angle the phone toward the scene unfolding 10 feet away. Olena and Anton freeze when the sirens wail outside seconds later. Anton bolts for the hatch, but a beam of light from the window catches him mid-climb. Officers flood the house from both doors, their shouts ricocheting off the walls. Olena doesn't run. She straightens, brushes dust off her sweater, and says with calm venom, "I told you the house was safe. Safe if you follow the rules." Her smile is brittle, breaking at the edges. When Koval steps forward, Olena's expression falters for the first time. They cuff her hands, lead her out, Anton already in the back of the cruiser. The search that follows stretches into days. Officers tear into the attic, following the crawl spaces into the neighboring roofs. They find more boxes, more belongings cataloged like a ledger of lives, laptops, passports, heirlooms. Every house Olena managed had been part of her circuit. A system of tunnels and keys and silence. The storage unit yields even more. Neighbors whisper in knots on the sidewalk. Tamara crosses herself and mutters about how she always knew something wasn't right. Reporters show up with cameras and questions. But all I can think about is the moment Olena touched the hatch, as if it belonged to her body. not ours. We pack slowly. Each drawer feels like a potential trap. Each shadow a memory of boots on the floor. Mira insists we'll never live in another old house again. I don't argue. When the movers carry the last box out, I walk back through the hall one final time. The hatch is gone now, ripped out, beams exposed. Through the gap, I can see daylight, a square of unbroken sky. Weeks later, Mira shows me the official email from Kaval. Charges filed, license revoked, storage contents cataloged. Anton gets probation and fines. Olena faces trial. Our names are redacted from the reports, but we know the story is ours. On Reddit, I write it all down. I include the audio clip, the still frame of Olena's face from the camera, the photos of boxes labeled with strangers' names. I end the post with a picture of the roofline, the gable window open now to nothing but air. The caption says, "There's no ladder anymore, just sky." And for the first time since we moved in, I sleep without waking at the sound of someone whispering through the walls.